call to order the meeting of May 23rd. If the clerk would please take the roll.
Councilmember Amos.
Present.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Here.
Mayor Rapp.
Here. Excuse me. You have before you the minutes from the regular meeting of May the 9th and the special meeting of May the 10th. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Ashford. Is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Amos. Is there any additions or deletions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes will stand as submitted. We have a couple of presentations tonight. If the clerk would please read the first one.
Certificate of recognition will be presented to the FHL Championship Prowler team.
If you'd like to join me at the podium here, and you can bring your trophy with you. I'm going to read the certificate. Whereas the Port Huron Prowlers are the 2015-16 Commissioners' Cup champions, which brought Port Huron its first professional championship in 44 years, and whereas the Port Huron Prowlers pulled off a 2-1 victory over the Danbury Titans on Friday, April 22nd, 2016, to cinch the Commissioners' Cup championship, and whereas the City of Port Huron is proud and privileged to have a team in its community who displayed good sportsmanship, teamwork, and determination throughout the season, and whereas we wish the Port Huron Prowlers continued success and best of luck in future seasons, now therefore I, Pauline M. Repp, by the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Port Huron, and on behalf of Council Members Amos, Archibald, Ashford, Harris, Lewandowski, and Ruiz, do hereby issue this certificate of recognition to the Port Huron Prowlers with sincere congratulations and best wishes for many more successful seasons. Let's give that to you. You're welcome. Would you like to say a few words? There you go.
I want to thank you for everybody for obviously giving us all the support we've had throughout the year, and breaking the streak of 44 years is always an accomplishment. We just want to thanks everybody for all the support.
The second presentation.
Students from the 5th grade DARE program will read their winning essays.
I'm not sure who is, Chief, do you know? Okay.
Officer Meinsberg was going to bring the speech.
Oh, no.
Oh, I wasn't told that. You didn't have a copy of it with you? Well, Officer Meinsberg's at another DARE graduation, so I don't have a copy of that. She has
Can you introduce himself, perhaps?
Well, maybe you could just introduce yourself, tell us where you're from and what you learned at DARE. Sorry about this.
Go ahead.
My name is Liam Thompson. I graduated from my DARE class on last Tuesday. And
Take your time.
What school do you go to?
St. Mary's.
What did you learn in DARE?
We learned how to resist drugs and alcohol and smoking. And
Did you win an award for your speech? Did you win an award for your speech?
yes, we got a little pin. We got to read our essays at our DARE graduation with my classmates Helena and Sharon. And we learned about conflict communication and how to resist bullies and how to help someone that's being bullied.
I have to tell you, his speech was so well and so good that I immediately became concerned for each one of your jobs, because this guy, he's got it. And when he gets older, let me tell you, he knocked that speech out of the park. So we'll reschedule it, and we'll make sure that we have the speech here, okay? Congratulations.
We will move on now to public comment. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening, if you come forward, you just have to give us your name, and you have 4 minutes.
Lou Zebra. I was here back on February 8th
asking for some help trying to get this problem resolved at 2429 Maple. And it was turned over to Dave. And it's been 3.5 months, and still nothing's being resolved. I don't know if there's a way, how do I go to the next step to get this matter handled? Because see, now I'm stuck with this lot, and I can't sell it because I have to disclose that there's a 20-foot hole full of garbage in there. And I've been seeking out, asking for help. It's been 14 months now. You got the email back in January, and I showed up February 8th.
I remember.
And I'm just, it's like, I mean, if you looked out your kitchen window and you watched me dig an 8-foot hole and throw stuff in there and bury it, you would do something about it. You know, this is your town, this is your city. Well, I'm trying to do something about it, but it seems like I keep hitting railroad tracks and nothing's being done. And I went over there in the cold and I hauled away all that stuff that you guys got that email on in the cold, got rid of it all. And all I asked is, why can't we get this matter with this lot settled? I went down to the city assessor. I talked with him, and he guaranteed me that that was a perfectly good lot because it was on a crawl space. And he even said there was no reason for digging a 20-foot hole. So last time I only had 4 minutes, but I don't know, does the council ever take appointments where you get more than 4 minutes to get a problem resolved? Is that possible?
Well, before you continue on, I believe Mr. Shouty has a response from our city attorney does, so if we could hear from him, okay?
Yes.
And,
Should I say that?
yes, that would be great, thank you.
Yeah, last month, I believe Mr. Haynes did get up and speak on this issue, and he had asked our office at that time to just take a look at this issue and to see if there's anything from the city standpoint that we could do as a city, and our conclusion was this really is not a city issue. It didn't violate the terms of the permit. If, you know, burying building materials is not uncommon. There's also some support and structural issues as it pertains to the neighboring property. There's statutes that directly address that. If somebody digs a hole or excavates their own property, they have to make sure it doesn't impact the next property. So I believe the individual who had the property, you know, said that he didn't remove some building materials and some foundational support out of concern for the neighbor. All of these issues really are not city issues per se. These are really issues between, you know, a seller of land and a purchaser of land. It's really private parties. And so if there was some issue with the water contamination, or there was, you know, some type of contamination in the soil that was buried, then it might become a city issue. But as it stands right now, this really is not a city issue, and I'm not even sure we have standing to address it
Okay.
from a city standpoint.
David, did you have something else you wanted to add to that?
And I sympathize with his concern. You know, Mr. Shouty, you know, has a position for the city. Going forward, I still would like to see an ordinance that really spells out how we handle demolition of property, and then, you know, what is happening with those materials. So there is a wide range of ordinances throughout the state. Some have where you have to remove down to 2 feet below grade. Foundations can remain. In other communities, all foundations and all basement flooring need to be removed, so it runs the gamut. But I think that's something we need to look at.
David, is there any, in your review of the situation, has there any evidence that has surfaced in which you believe that there's mass amounts of trash and debris buried in that site?
You know, when I went out to the site and I looked at the hole that was excavated, I did see a large concrete chunk, probably about 2.5, 3 feet down. You know, as Mr. Seabury had mentioned, he had taken the time to dig out that.
Yeah, there was also burnt wood, vinyl siding.
Yeah, small chunks of wood and vinyl, but that was the extent. So short of really, as Mr. Shouty said, you know, having a full excavation of the site, and really, you know, is that between two private parties, you know, that's the question.
Mayor, yes, Councilmember Ashford.
When you found this out, I guess, Mr. Shouty, did you communicate your findings with the gentleman?
No, I have
Okay.
not spoken with him.
Oh, okay. Had you planned on communicating?
If you'd like me to, I'd be happy to.
Oh, yeah, I think that would give him some kind of a answer, response, that we did look into it. Yeah.
Okay. But what you're saying, it's really between the private parties?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. They will get in. Well, you had about a minute 40 left on your time, but when I had them, no, I didn't count what they said.
My main complaint.
You'd like to get back to the podium, please?
Yeah. Well, here's my main complaint, is when they tore the house down on Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, I notified the city immediately Monday morning. Immediately. There should have been a hold on that lot. If someone had a complaint about that property, why did John Schmidt allow it to be sold to someone under false pretenses that there was no hold there? And as far as the city assessor is concerned, there is no hold there. I just met with him the other day. So John Schmidt should have put a hold on there until an investigation was done, but not 10 months later and then hand it off to Dave Haynes and say, here, you clean up my mess. Now, it's been a year and 2 months. This all should have been handled last March, April, not a year and 2 months later. So I'm stuck with $6,000 lot. You told me to get all my stuff off it, I did, and I can't sell it without signing a disclosure that there's a 20-foot hole that ruined a crawl space. That was a perfect lot. And that's all I can say is, the only phone call I get is when I call and call and call and wait and wait and wait. And that's why I'm here.
Mr. Shouty and Mr. Haynes will get in touch with you.
Okay, thank you very much
and
for your
explain it
time.
all to you, okay? You have his phone number, David? Do you have his phone number? Okay. Yep, thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening? So you have 4 minutes and you can come forward.
Good evening. Scott Richard Warden, 412 Grand River, City of Port Huron. Want to congratulate Port Huron Prowlers, and I think it's great that the city is given that recognition. Very proud of the hockey history and way to bring it back, boys. Also very proud of Liam over here. Pretty excited to hear that they have an award for an essay contest. I want to just thank City Council, Mayor, and the different department heads for at least the invite or the open public notice for the proposed, the budget public hearing that was held on that Tuesday night up in the fourth floor there. It was pretty neat to see. I just want to state it for the rest of the city residents or anybody else. Quite an interesting thing to see all the department heads there being able to define and describe what they're looking to do for their budget. I'm very happy I heard and Chief Reeves there with Port Huron for the fire and for the police, that the budget, a little bit of increase there for them, which is good. The city, we need to keep investing into the fire and public safety. And I thought the rest of the department heads did great, even, city clerk. Found it very interesting. I was amazed that it only lasted about an hour and 20 minutes. I thought we were in for a long haul with that big of a budget, but I just thought that was, wanted to share that with the rest of you, and also thank you for having that accessible for the public to come to. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the council this evening? If they'd like to come forward, give us their name, and you have 4 minutes. Seeing no one, I'll declare public comment closed, and we will move on to, from the city manager, number 1.
Accepting the quote from PCM Business Direct in the amount of $11,450 for 2 Hewlett-Packard network servers.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Support.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald and Councilmember Ruiz. Is there discussion? Can I just ask what these are?
Let me have Jim Brenner, IT Director, come up.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. In our data center, we've got a number of network servers, 13 I think is the latest count. As I indicated in my note, that a number of them still run Windows Server 2003, which has been, support's been discontinued, which is a minor problem currently, but going forward, it's important. So we have a number of servers, 6 of them that we want to replace with 2 larger ones. And that's sort of the nature of the server business. These new ones hold more disk drives, have more memory in dual processors. So in the past, we had a number of smaller servers that did a single task. We're going to replace them with 2 of them that can do the work of a number of them. And the ones that we are replacing, the newest ones, 3 of them are from 2008, and 2 of them were purchased in 2006, and 1 we think in 2005, but pretty hard to tell. They work just fine, but they're reaching the end of their life, and if we're going to go forward, I think we need to replace them. And in the past, these would have fallen below the purchase threshold of $5,000 or $5,500, but because they have so much more capability, they're now bump above that. But that's good, so I get an opportunity to come and answer your question.
Does anyone have, Councilmember Ashford has a question, I believe.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I just want, can you speak to the capability of what this positions us for deploying new technology in the future?
Well, they give us a couple of options. For one, that because of the limits on memory, addressable memory at Windows 2003, they didn't have response times, or these will have much quicker response times. We can put faster disk drives. This will actually is part of our longer range plan of developing a different finance and accounting package. These will have the ability to grow to that. And if we decided, I don't even want to get into virtualizing, but there's a way of creating a sort of a single mass server through virtualization. This has that ability, which then would give us make it easier to add and change hardware. But anyway, it really gets us to the current state of the technology is probably the most important thing.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Well, yeah, actually, you've been kind of limited, haven't you? I mean, the operating system within itself, and you still are using it
I
from
don't-
2003? Or are you just limited to what you do here? Is it just?
It isn't, no, I wouldn't say limited. I would
Not
say,
limited, but you could.
we could do more.
You can do more,
We
right?
could do,
Yeah, the
these will
capacity
allow
there,
us to do
right.
more.
Okay, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank God for that, 'cause okay.
Did you have a question, Councilmember Harris?
I guess that mine's a comment more than a question, is the fact that, recently we've had a sole source things that we've approved here at council because of the limited resources. I think that you should be congratulated because there was a lot of competitive bids in this, and it was good to see that that there's interest out there.
We didn't open this widely because these are so key to our going forward, so we picked 4 vendors that we do have experience with, and they gave us good prices.
Very good.
So,
Very good. Any other questions?
Yeah, and I hate to speak again, but just to piggyback off of him, and you were all within the same range in these bids, to show it, that's very key, so that's good. Thank you, Mayor Rob.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, we will take the vote.
Councilmember Amos?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rett?
Yes. We'll move on to resolution number 1, please.
Adopting the capital improvement program for the 2016-2017 through 2021-2022 fiscal years.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second? Support. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald. Is there discussion?
Yes. Mayor Rep.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yeah, can we just have some highlights? I know this is kind of like part for the course, when we deal with this capital improvements. Some things have been on there for ages, and so how do we see that going forward?
Appreciate the question. One of the things we did was it assesses our current needs, both short-term and long-term, both in our infrastructure, water, sewer, our streets. We run a very data-driven approach to asset management, where we actually give numeric data ratings to all of our road surfaces around the city. We also do age of life and efficiency ratios on pumps and a lot of stuff that's not very sexy in the wastewater plant. But that is a huge portion of our budget. About $30 million of our annual budget is in utilities. And so it's significant that we maintain those assets so that the cost of operating falls in appropriate lines. One of the things that's unique and a testament to Lenny's innovation this year is, in the previous past, you just kind of had a wish list or a list of projects. This year, we have actually designated proposed funding sources moving forward. And so there's proposed funding sources where in the future, where do we intend and how are we going to pay for these projects? And so this document is more of a planning document that we can use as a guidepost moving forward to address not only our financial issues, but also ensure that we maintain good quality infrastructure. It's cheaper to maintain than reconstruct. And so this provides you with the necessary horizontal outlook so you can see what's coming and plan accordingly. So that's kind of the highlights of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Rep.
Anyone else? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Amos?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, move on to item 2, please.
Adopting the budget, including the Downtown Development Authority budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2016, and authorizing the levy of the tax millage rates.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Ruiz. Is there discussion?
Mayor Rep,
Yes, Councilmember Harris.
I think the public first should know how extensive this budget process is. I know I've shared some comments with different council members and with the administration and things like that, and I've sat and even went through some of the budget again this morning after having some further discussions. It's enormous. Anybody that doubts that there is a challenge when doing the budget should realize that this year's budget had 1,257 pages. And it was really interesting to look at. The only problem they have with the budget, I think that we're exceeding our goals on making Port Huron affordable in the next couple of years. I think that for the past few years, we've added a little bit of overhead, and I think this year's budget might do the same thing. I've took into a lot of thoughts here on where the money's going. I understand that our legacy costs are huge, and they're gone up, and it's figured in the budget, and that's, we can't mask that. That's there. We had another issue that come up the last year. We instituted a one-time charge, which I thought was a one-time charge for rubbish and recycling pickup. Well, unbeknownst, that's not the block this year. I guess the block is further than that because sharing some of the information, the recycling ability of the area has shrunk to, we have one vendor in the entire state of Michigan, in fact, this local area that actually accepts recycling products. So it's not the question of the $25 anymore, it's a question about how much it's going to cost us next year. But being that all said, it's a tough decision. I won't vote yes or no until I get right down to my chance to vote, because it's a challenge, and everybody should really look at the budget and see what the challenge it is. And I spent hours and hours, and I think there's a lot of good things in it, but there's some trends that I don't want to see us build on in the next few years. So with that, I'll shut up.
Thank you. Not thank you for shutting up, but thank you for, thank you. Is there anyone else who has any comments? Councilmember Lewandowski.
Kind of what Ken said, the budget is the budget. For the most part, when somebody tells you it's a vanilla budget, that does cause me concerns, because when you hear that, it usually tells me there's something that people aren't looking at. But it is the major issues in the budget. It's something that we'll get to vote on later down the line when they come up, so I'm not going to really harp on those too much. But I do have two issues. The first one is the recycling fee. I'm curious how that went from being on all residential partial, or parcels to on only owner-occupied parcels.
Yeah, we had issues where inadvertently boat slips that were zoned residential were getting hit with that fee, especially Center Point condominiums. Cross Point condominiums. And so that was to address the concerns of sites that would not actually produce recycling material not being hit with that bill.
Okay, well, who made that decision to make the change?
That was in the budget discussion at the work session that was discussed.
Okay, but I was told that would take a vote of council because we voted on it to make that change on the ordinance was all residential parcels that we voted on May 13th, so wouldn't you have to change that whole ordinance?
Well, they did get billed this past year, and moving forward.
Since it was a vote of council, wouldn't that ordinance have to be changed before?
That's why it's in the budget resolution. It wasn't done by ordinance, it was done by budget resolution. So the vote tonight will address that change in your resolution.
And the second one is the city manager's pay. I'm curious how you went from 107 to 114 in the change in time.
Well, I have after my voluntary $3,000 pay decrease last year, I received a step increase per my contract. I also received a second step increase in the second year of my contract, plus the additional fringe costs that affected every other employee of additional fringe rate.
Okay, but voluntary, it wasn't voluntary because council did have to act on it. We did vote unanimously to reduce your pay.
But I was under contract, I was obligated, I had a contract, so I didn't have to cut my own pay.
But you didn't, but council did vote on that.
After I consented to it.
You did bring it forward to us. We didn't ask you.
And he may have, but again, we voted on it. So he's kind of going around council on that one too. And on the step increase in your pay, your contract calls for a pay increase of $2,500 for a superior rating on your contract. After your evaluation, you've only had one evaluation. So how did you get 2 steps?
It's budgeted for next year, assuming I have an evaluation before the next fiscal year.
Okay. And then with your first raise, you scored a 3.7, I believe the mayor said. Would you consider that superior?
I believe our city attorneys addressed your questions.
He gave me a definition of superior.
I'd allow the city attorney to address that.
I'll have him address it then.
No, I have not seen his contract and have not reviewed it, so, without looking at the contract, I wouldn't be able to give you an opinion on that. I assume my partner has looked at it from time to time, but I have personally not, and if you need me to look at it, I can do so.
That's fine. 74%, would you, I know you're not going to answer it, so I want to ask you if you consider 74% superior or not.
Yeah, I don't know what the standard is.
3.7 out of 5 is.
I don't know if it was out of 5 or 4.
Yeah.
It was 5, I believe, though,
It's
wasn't it?
5,
I'm not
okay.
sure. I don't have it in front of me, so. But the point is that the city manager is making less money today than he made when he started working for us.
That's neither here nor there, though. How can you budget a pay raise for the city manager when he hasn't had the evaluation? What if he doesn't score on the evaluation?
That's just a budget, and it's put into the budget for that
Still
case.
concerned about the first one, then, is I'd like a more clearer definition of superior.
Well, I think that's something we can deal with at the time that we do our next evaluation, which should be coming up shortly. And it is in the budget, just as a place marker, should that be the case. It's certainly not something that's a given at this point, so.
So then, I guess the question is, so the 107 that he took the voluntary cut to, how does that get to him to 114 with 2 pay raises and the 2% raise and
Well, the one pay raise has not been given yet. The one pay raise is in there as a placeholder should he get a pay raise. It's not been given to him at this date. That's all that's in there. And I think that if, I don't think there's anybody, I don't believe there's anybody on council that's wanting to take away any more money.
I didn't ask anybody to take away anything. I'm just curious how he's getting to where he's getting to, being as it was a vote of council, he says it was voluntary, and that may be the case, but council still had to vote on it, so he's going around council to give that back to
I
himself.
don't think so. I think it follows the contract, and I'm sure that we could have, I think Gary is very familiar with it, so maybe we can have Gary Fletcher address that in the future. Right now, it's only a budgeted placeholder for money, so we'll
I would
definitely.
like answers to that then, and I would like an answer to, I guess, a clear definition of superior. When you get a 3.7 out of 5, that doesn't equal superior to me.
Well, not everybody, and I will say, not everybody filled in their evaluation. So you have 7 people, and by all actuality, I probably should have, I'm the one that calculated the totals on there, and I probably should have dropped out the top and the bottom to make it more even, because we did not have 7 people. It's very hard to evaluate someone when not everybody answers every question, or that they don't bother with it. And they were not fully completed the last time. So it's a little hard to come up with an evaluation if everybody is not going to complete the evaluations to their fullest. So I would suggest that at the next one that we have coming up, that everybody makes a point to complete each area and give a total into each area.
But not all questions applied either, though, so some of them couldn't have got rid of.
Well, I think, bottom line is we counted it with if you had 4 people that answered a question and it was 7, you're going to get your evaluation marked down because not all 7 people answered it. So I don't think that's really a fair assumption at that point.
Problem with the evaluation.
Then we probably should have thrown out the top and the bottom on that one, and I'm sure that's, we will look at that when it's time to do it again, as to a more fair where.
The top or the bottom, I don't know.
Who creates that evaluation, Mayor?
The evaluation has been done with the consultation of the attorney, not Todd, but Gary Fletcher, and the personnel department, and I'm the one that sends it out, because one person has to be obviously responsible.
Well, going
for it.
forward, I would just like to request, if those questions aren't being answered, that we do fluctuate that evaluation to make sure it's an accurate evaluation.
I agree. Not everybody completed, and I did note that when everybody got a copy of it, that not everyone had completed every area.
So I think you did respond
Yes.
to that, so you might be talking about something weighted going forward,
Yeah.
weighted evaluation, yeah. Okay.
With all due respect, it is our obligation to evaluate him to the fullest, and that means each and every one of us should fill out every single question.
Correct.
When applicable. You fill out the questions when applicable.
don't believe
Some
there was
people
anything
may-
on there that was
Question
not
that wasn't
applicable.
To them at that time. I remember, and I'm just going to go off of me, I came in and I evaluated them, and I hadn't even sat in this seat for a while. So some questions I did not answer
No, I know
to the
that.
fullest, so I just want to make sure I put that out there.
Yep, no, I know. But we've all been here for the last year, so I'm assuming that we'll all fill it out
They
this
filled
year.
out correctly.
Okay. Is there any other discussion or questions?
Madam Mayor, if I could, the budget as an overview as a whole, it is a status quo budget. As I mentioned before, we're waiting for a new actuarial study from MERS. The $100 million of unfunded liabilities, about $53 million of pension unfunded liabilities, about $47 million of OPEB liabilities. Our annual contribution will be more than $7 million this year. It was about $6.2 million in the previous years. That number is expected to grow to north of $12.9 million by 2029, and our general revenue is stagnant. The greatest pressures on the budget this year were those unfunded liabilities forcing us to raise our fringe rate to now close to 78%. And in the general fund, when you increase the expenses with no new revenue, it's people and services that are at risk. I am proud of the fact that in the last 20 months, this city has reduced general government by more than $1.7 million. The city manager's budget is reduced from the time I got here by 22%. My salary was voluntarily cut by $3,000. I no longer have a personal assistant. I'm on my own up there. I answer my own phone. I do my own scheduling. But that's not very unusual compared to all the extra work our employees have had to take. We have 100 less employees than we did about a decade ago. But the service level has stayed the same. We still provide police and fire protection, excellent police and fire protection, quality parks and recreation, quality infrastructure, quality utilities, and that is a testament to the sacrifices of our city employees, who do now the jobs of 2 or 3 people. Just like I used to have an assistant. They had assistants and helps, but now they're doing it all on their own. And so this budget represents the cost reductions we have made in the last 20 months. I am proud of that. But it also is a testament to the sacrifice of our employees who continue to come to work day in and day out with relatively stagnant wages to provide the people of this city quality services. And so moving forward, we will work to address the unfunded liabilities, which is the greatest issue facing this city. And in the next 2 or 3 years, we will be forced to reform our structure of benefits, because in its current structure, it is unsustainable. And so moving forward, we will have to work together We will have to look all across the state and across the country how other communities have addressed these similar challenges. Councilmember Ashford, you brought up this is a universal challenge. You are correct. There's $136 billion of unfunded liabilities in the state of Michigan today. We are funded at 62%. We're probably middle of the pack. And so working with our shareholders at a local level, at a state level, and with the Michigan Municipal League, we will need to find answers and solutions because if left unaddressed, this will affect the services our residents deserve, and therefore it deserves our priority and attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said.
We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
No. No.
Councilmember Lewandowski.
No.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Amos.
No.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Budget does pass. We're going to kind of go a little out of order because I see that the speech has arrived. So I think that we're going to go backwards a little bit and we're going to hear your speech.
I just want to say thanks for working us into your schedule. I obviously came from another DARE graduation, so we have Liam Thompson from St. Mary's McCormick Catholic Academy with one of our essay winners.
DARE, a simple acronym while also stating the idea of the program. One of the slogans I have seen in the past was, in fact, Dare to resist drugs. So what is DARE anyways? DARE is a program that educates fifth graders on drugs and what they do to your body. This year, my fifth grade class was educated by Officer Minesberg. She taught us many things, including the DARE decision-making model, all about the health effects of smoking and drugs, and how to make good decisions. She also taught us how to communicate confidently. So how am I using these skills? The one I have been using the most is confident communication at Grace Episcopal Church, where I often read from the Bible. I also use this in class when reading from our textbooks. If I am ever presented with an opportunity to smoke or take drugs in the future, I will be able to use the skills that I have learned from DARE to resist that. I will also be able to use confident communication at my job, in case I ever have to do an oral report. In conclusion, I was very fortunate to have taken DARE this year, and I plan to use the skills I have learned in the present and future.
Great job.
Run for office. He is good. He's good. I mean, he had the eye contact. You were just, well, how do you kids say? You were off the chain. It was good.
It's like a young adult in
Yeah.
this child body coming out, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
very
it was
nice.
very.
Great communication.
Yeah.
Great communication. Thank you, and I'm glad you got to read it. Thank you.
Good.
We'll move on now to resolution number 3.
Authorizing application of the Byron JAG Program Fiscal Year 2016 grant in the amount of $16,399 for proactive criminal activity programs and acceptance of any grant funds if awarded.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald and supported by Councilmember Ashford. Is there discussion? We'll take the
Mayor,
vote.
can we get an explanation on what these funds will be utilized for in the future?
Mayor Rep, council members, City Manager Freed, these are funds that we apply for that come through the Department of Justice that are based upon our crime statistics. Over the last 5 years, these funds have been steadily going down. That's because over the last 5 years, you have had crime suppressed, and those numbers have been going steadily down. What we'll do is that we have to apply for the application, we have your permission, and then when the application is extended and approved, I would accept it. We'll use these in an anti-crime proactive process here during the summer months to supplement our normal patrols. We've done that in a number of different summers. We had increased bike patrols, we did special police operations and things of that nature.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? Thank you.
I will say one thing. These grants, I've worked with these in other cities. The administration of these grants are very complicated. and very cumbersome. And the awarding of these grants, and more importantly, the re-awarding numerous grant applications, is a testament to the administrating of these grants and programs that Chief and his team do. And so I think that should not go unnoticed, the amount of work that goes into this. It's every little hour has to be documented and logged, and it's tedious.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Amos?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 4, please.
Approving the sale of the vacant lot at 1307 Scott Avenue for $5,000 to Life Source Investment LLC.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Amos. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, just real quickly, this is and if you need further discussion, David is here to address your questions. These were two properties that are, a single property or two. One property that from a demolition, it is being assembled. We believe this is a fair rate. We sold a similar property on the other side of town that was, had commercial frontage that was about $6,000, which is a decent rate. And so that's pretty much the history of it. Trying to unload these and get the mowing off our backs.
Any questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Amos?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 5.
Approving the allocation of $50,000 to support funding requests to assist with the DDA marketing and special event activities using Michigan Department of Transportation mitigation funding dollars.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Ruiz. The city manager is going to, has several people who this affects that are going to give presentations.
Good evening. I wanted to address this kind of a litany of stuff here. We'll discuss them item by item. I have a couple guests with us tonight to kind of talk about where these funding will go. I first think it's important to go back and talk about where this funding comes from. It's part of the economic remediation effects of the properties being demolished from the potential bridge project. MDOT set up $100,000 a year, monies to be used by the city of Port Huron restrictively for economic development, promotion, and tourism. So this is not money we can take to pay for general government services. It must be used for these specific purposes. The first line item, I have tonight with me David Haynes, who is the board chairman for the Main Street program. I also have Thelma, who is the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. And what we have talked about, you guys both come up here for a second, one of the adopted goals by council was working with the downtown and working with Main Street, with the DDA and Main Street, to find better synergy there. And what we're finding out is that we have 3 very good organizations. But if you take the mission statements and overlap them, they're relatively identical in some of the goals and objectives. The Chamber has a much more broader spectrum as they go by a whole region. Main Street's focus is right on just downtown, but the DDA also focuses on just the downtown. More importantly, infrastructure and development that would increase the tax value of the downtown. So slightly different, but very similar goals in a broader spectrum. One of the things we discussed is we have 3 different organizations, but there's no unified voice for downtown. No point organization. If you want to start a business, where do you send them? The Chamber or Main Street? If you want to look at a storefront because you're thinking about opening up a boutique or a restaurant, who do you talk to? Who is the one organization getting all the business owners? We have the Restaurant Collaborative involved. Who is the one organization bringing everyone to the table? And so we have a lot of good intentioned people down in our downtown, but it needs direction. And I've been working with David. As you know, their director has left for a different position. I'm working with Thelma, whose office is right downtown, and I administer the DDA. And we've been meeting with the mayor, we've met with the DDA chairman, and we discussed the idea of a downtown director position. And here's the honest truth. We are not 100% sure what that role will look like. And what we're asking for tonight is the placeholder of $20,000. Now, this does not mean we're going to go out and spend the $20,000. What this is we're going to take this $20,000 and we're going to go to the DDA, we're going to go to Main Street, we're going to go to the Restaurant Collaborative, and we're going to work with the Chamber of Commerce and say, how can we jointly pool all of our funding together, because $20,000 isn't going to cut it. How do we pool all of our resources together to make one unified organization an effort and give downtown one clear voice? Because that's what we're lacking. If you look at Royal Oak, if you look at Birmingham, they have one group promoting, there's one place to go for information, nonstop information to the downtown. We want to get to that. Main Street has a lot of boots on the ground, business owners who really know the downtown. They know what it needs. Thelma and her team have remarkable resources through the Small Business Association, through the Chamber of Commerce consulting and business coaching and marketing aspects. And so they all have their own different strengths. The DDA has remarkable abilities to work on infrastructure projects. And they also facilitate the TIFs, which take care of the flower beds, the benches, and the trash downtown. And so what we would like to do is use this and say, listen, if we all work together, there's the potential that we have $20,000 to bolster those efforts. And that's what that $20,000 is. Now, when we get done working with all these groups, we're going to come up with a final proposal, and we're going to bring it back to you. We'll bring it back to the Chamber, we'll bring it back to Main Street, and we'll bring it back to the Restaurant Collaborative and to the DDA. So this is just a placeholder. We're not going to go out and spend it tomorrow. We will come back to you to give you the formal proposal of what we would like to do. But this allows me to go to those different organizations and say, we've got skin in the game, let's sit down, we're serious about having this conversation. Because I think, to be quite frank, this conversation is well overdue. So anything you guys want to say real quick?
Yesterday.
Again, I know the Chamber's still in the exploratory stages of this. We don't have a plan of any means at this point in time, but we really think that we can deliver on this. We're very successful as a Chamber of Commerce for the entire region, and I think we want downtown to be successful. Otherwise, we're not successful.
And I guess for those who've been around long enough, we've thought about this a long time, where we've had these different factions all working diligently but separately. And it's time we start working as kind of one voice, one entity. And I think this is an opportunity to bring these groups together once again and hopefully accomplish that. Because we've been working on this now probably 15, 20 years, talking about it, and it's time to make it happen.
Thank you.
This was one of your adopted goals in the last goal-setting session. So this will be a placeholder. This will show the different stakeholders that we're serious about unifying, and we will come back to you with a formal proposal. Thank you so much. Next up, we have the Community Foundation Marketing Program. I have Randy Myers with the Community Foundation to talk about a broader spectrum of a coalition effort to promote specifically Port Huron and the remarkable stories of people and place we have going on here in our community.
James. First, I should start out by apologizing. I missed the Lakeside Park ceremony last week, and I saw Nancy here. Foundation's proud to play a little role in helping Lakeside Park. And let me just say, we are really pleased lately with working with your staff. Late last year, Chief Reeves came with a request. One of our funds provided a small grant to the police department. Very innovative approach, the stuff Nancy does and David does, and now James, a part of Blue Meets Green. We're really fortunate to have your staff, and I want to thank you for that. We have a challenge, though, in this region, and it existed for many years, which is the fact that national and state media does not cover Port Huron. It's hard to get the attention of the Detroit News, the Free Press, Lansing State Journal, Traverse City Journal. MLive, if you follow other regions, MLive covers almost every part of Michigan. They refuse to cover Port Huron. Cranes, up until just recently, and thanks to Blue Meets Green and some of the work James and others has done, coming out June 13th, you'll see for the first time ever a substantial part of Cranes dedicated to the growth and progress of Port Huron. And let me tell you, that's a substantial market when you're talking about the reach of Cranes. Cranes is still the #1 business journal in the state of Michigan, probably one of the top in America. They're going to do a whole special feature just on the growth of Port Huron. That's not a small accomplishment, and at no cost to the city of Port Huron. We're still left, however, with seeing other parts of Michigan, the Model D in Detroit, in Grand Rapids, where they are able to communicate throughout the Midwest and America stories of talent and innovation and of people doing wonderful things to bring prosperity back to communities. We don't have that mechanism here. As good as our local media is, our local media does a wonderful job, we don't have a state presence that tells those stories. So last year, our company approached us called Second Wave Media. They are a statewide publication. They're actually in about probably 17 other communities around America as well as throughout Michigan. This is not a news publication. This is not a Gannett. They don't cover breaking news. They cover stories in depth, like you might see on a 60-minute show, that talk about the people and the stories behind the people. It's a different approach to telling stories about prosperity. They take the time to understand why is Alan Stevens coming to Port Huron? Why is Dennis Doyle doing Thumb Coast? Why are people volunteering to rebuild parks and paint parks in the city of Port Huron? They dive into the stories behind the stories. It's not cheap, however. So as we've done in the past, our community foundation is willing to come to the table. We're willing to pay half the cost to have Second Wave Media create a platform in and around the greater Port Huron region. It should launch within the next 4 to 6 weeks. It's a collaborative effort. Thelma is still here. The Chamber is a part of it financially. The Blue Water Visitor and Convention Bureau is a part of it. The EDA is a part of it. We have multiple partners putting up funds to provide 1 year of creating this platform, hiring a local editor, reporter, photographer to dive into these stories and tell these on a state and national level, again, about the people in place and the talent of what making Port Huron prosperous. Behind you on a screen, this is the Grand Rapids publication. It's called Rapid Growth Media. If you, like many people, you cannot read news these days and not hear about Grand Rapids growth. What Grand Rapids has done, and Detroit has too, many of you know the Cooley family and what they've done to Corktown. Detroit has prospered, and Second Wave Media helped tell the story with Model D because they tell one story at a time that we can each find a piece to relate to. Right? They don't cover high school sports as much as we love high school sports. They don't cover city council meetings. They tell stories people can relate to. So Second Wave Media has this niche market. This is the Grand Rapids example. The Port Huron version, and this may upset my friends in Marysville and St. Clair, although it will cover the outlying areas, it is a Port Huron focus. People in the state of Michigan know Port Huron. They struggle with blue water. They struggle with other phrases, us locals, I'm a local now for 14 years, but it's going to be Port Huron, the greater Port Huron area. It'll look exactly like this format here. So when you go online, and this is just an online publication, it's not a print publication, you'll see 8 to 10 to 12 stories a month. On the right side, you'll see national stories. And again, this is from their network. Any story they pick up is not crime. It's not housing statistics. It's not sports. It's talent, innovation, entrepreneurs, people that are making a difference. On the right side, you'll see national stories. In the primary section, you'll see local stories that people can relate to. So it'll launch in 4 to 6 weeks. The total price tag is about $90,000. We're willing to pay more than half, and other partners are paying a big chunk. But this is an area where we're asking the city, again, to continue to be a partner with us. And it's one more step to continuing the trend we're on, which isn't perfect. But honestly, over the last 10 or 15 years, we have never seen this kind of growth and prosperity come to this region. And it's a great opportunity, and we're asking you to join the foundation and other partners in supporting this effort.
If I can, this media is very popular in their regions. We have Model D in Detroit, which is very popular among millennials, the creative class, and business people. What is very exciting about this is you will have this content, our Port Huron content, will be injected into those media markets. So a developer in Detroit is going to be reading about the lofts in downtown Port Huron. A developer in Grand Rapids is going to be reading about his friend Chuck Reed building a boutique hotel and theater in downtown Port Huron. This will give us the ability to reach people we are unable to currently reach with our story. We have about $200 million, that's a conservative estimate of an investment going on within our commercial districts in the city of Port Huron in the next 24 months. We need to tell that story because progress attracts progress, and these developers come in because of relationships. And so we're excited to partner with the Community Foundation on this, and thank you so much. And up next, I will have Rick Dion is going to talk about the Blue Water Fest funding and some of the innovative things that the Festivals Committee has done with the Blue Water Fest.
Mayor, members of the council, James. I'm here representing Port Huron Festivals Incorporated. We are the nonprofit that oversees Blue Water Fest. And we're all interested in, improving the image of the city of Port Huron. We want to make Port Huron a good place to live, work, and play for the residents. We want to be attractive to visitors. And one way we do it is with festivals. And the Blue Water Fest is our signature big summer event. And we have hired Jonathan Witz and Associates to manage the festival for us, to bring in some very professional management, and just to elevate the show we put on for Blue Water Fest during the week. Our highest cost, though, will be with entertainment, management of the event, security, including fencing, electrical, and the list goes on. So as we try to improve what we're doing with the festival, there's costs associated with it. We are not self-sustaining yet, so we need your help, and we appreciate everything that you do, including all the in-kind costs from police and fire and what we do on the streets. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any
questions?
We'll wait till the end. We do questions. How about that?
Okay.
All right, that works. We'll wait till the end so we can sum it all up. The last one is the offshore race marketing, our sponsorship to help promote that event. One of the things we've done here, and the reason why I wanted to package these together, is because oftentimes when we've been dealing with the mitigation money in the past, it's been here or there, and there's never been a complete strategy. And whereas here we have a strategy of communicating who we are, inviting people to our community to experience our signature event. I have met with developers. I know Randy's met with developers throughout the last year. All we do is say, hey, you need to come Blue Water Fest, come see Port Huron. You've never been to Port Huron, come visit us on Boat Week, see what we're about. It's the time we showcase our community to the city abroad, to the community abroad. And really the strategy of the long-term effect of having that one voice in our downtown. And so we package those together so you can see that there is a strategy in place to, one, create consensus and a collaborative cross-functional team promoting our downtown. Two, telling our story to the state and nation to reach those developers and outside investors who will come here, who have been coming here. And then also developing and further bolstering our signature event, which is the Blue Water Fest, which is where we really showcase our community, and the offshore races, which is our binational partnership with the city of Sarnia. And so that's why we kind of had those packaged together. And I guess everyone's available here if you have some questions or thoughts.
Anyone on council have questions, discussion?
Hey, Rick.
Yes, Councilmember Lewandowski.
The director position that we're going to put $20,000 to, who's that person going to report to?
That's what we're still discussing. We don't know if that would be, we would contract out with the Chamber of Commerce, if it would be a DDA position. We don't know if it could be a Main Street position. Those are what we're discussing, is who will that person work for? Will there be a new downtown advisory board created? There's that potential. So we are very in the early stages of defining that. So those questions I don't have the answer to, and that's why we will come back to you with a formal proposal. But we want the stakeholders to know that we're serious about partnering with them and partnering them in a real and meaningful way, and that's what that placeholder is for.
How many more years of the mitigation funds do we have? We can't have too many more years coming.
About 3 or 4 years.
That was when Tommy was the city manager, so that was maybe 06, 07 their time.
Well, he negotiated it then, but they didn't actually start right away, so, yeah, I think it was, yep.
I support a lot of the stuff that's in here. There is a few things, and I'm not going to nitpick which ones they are, but I'm going to vote no on it because you brought them all together at one time. If we had the ability to vote individually, I would vote on some of these.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I'd just like to comment, Randy Myers is good at what he does. Ms. Castile, I'm sure she's good at what she does, and same with the other people representing these different things. I guess my question or my thoughts are, when you look at the money, where's the money coming from? And if you look at the Constitution, the state Constitution of 1963, and it tells us that that we cannot allow this money to go to these type of things. In fact, in Allen versus Wayne County, it says, in other words, outright donations of public funds for charitable or similar purposes are not permitted, no matter how worthy the cause may be. And similarly, it goes on and we've had decisions accordingly. Not only must a public body receive something of value in return for all appropriations, but they must provide a recognizable public benefit or otherwise serve as a public purpose. And it goes on further, it says contributions, as explained above, the opportunities for local government to make a contribution that would serve only a generalized public-wide response are very limited. And it basically further states, you know, we have to be more specific than general ideas on what we use, the terminologies. I guess that's my big problem. And
Let me have our city attorney address the legality.
I know he's waiting to get up there. I was waiting for him to respond, so. And I'll listen to Todd, but I necessarily, you know, I'm quoting some of this from another legal firm.
I think this issue has been raised a few months ago as well, and you know, there is I understand the body of law that you're referring to, but there is a well-recognized exception that has been created by law and both case law and statutes, and that is that a municipality can engage in activities where they provide funds to an entity which could do what the public body could do themselves, and that specifically includes this type of marketing effort. This is very clearly a legal thing that you can do. Any type of activity designed to bring in tourism is done throughout the states by multiple municipalities, and I'd also say in this case, you also have a contract with the state of Michigan where they're providing these funds, and it's specifically designated for this very thing, for economic development. I believe the economic development plan was approved by the state as well, and I don't remember all the 10 items we identified, but I believe marketing efforts such as this would clearly fall within those definitions. So it's very, very clear that it's legal.
I don't know if I should make a comment. I mean, anybody that knows me knows that I'm very conservative, and I'm conservative with where my money goes and where the citizens of Port Huron money goes. And I feel that, yeah, you might be right, but I also feel that there's some right in some of the material that I've raised here in the Supreme Court decision, the Attorney General decisions in Michigan. I guess to further the other question, Mr. Dion got up there and we talked about, you know, the announcement in the Port Huron Times-Herald just here a couple months ago when Jonathan Witt come in and they said, well, Jonathan Witt's going to come back and put on the Blue Water Festival. Well, my phone started ringing that night when I got home. And they said, what the heck's going on? You know, we're going to bring this guy back in town. Well, it's fine, give him a chance, because everybody was under the understanding that it was going to cost us nothing to put on the Blue Water Festival. Now we're being asked here tonight to augment the Blue Water Festival. And so what produced this change?
Well, it's a question. This is a policy question for the council, mostly in the fact that these funds are designated for economic development and promotion. This is a signature event. If you look at communities across the state, like Royal Oaks, that has Arts, Eats, and Beats, you have the festival in Sarnia right across the river. They give almost $100,000 a year for their annual festival. You have the Coast Guard Festival in Grand Haven. You have signature events in communities all across the state. And so the policy question I put forth is I was asked to ask the council if they would support Blue Water Fest as they begin this transition. It's moving from Main Street, who lost their director, to the Festivals Committee, which is a committee of business owners and citizens in the community who are overseeing this now, which is probably the way it should be. And they're asking for our support, and so that is a policy question.
Did you have a question, Councilmember Ashford?
No, I just have a comment, a few comments. You know, one word comes to me from this whole everybody getting up is encouragement. I mean, that speaks volumes. And I know the Chambers, Thelma, I've seen what she has come here and was able to do, and the foundation. I mean, these people already got proof in the works that they do. I mean, it speaks for them. And the festival, I mean, we should be sitting here, I'm cheering, you know, just the collaboration that's ahead of you, that you can build, the connections, the linkages that you can make being that one, wherever this voice will come from. I'm thinking about the vision and the leadership, you know, that can bring all this stuff together for the city of Port Huron and really get people coming here, you know, more people. So I think it's really fantastic. I think it's really awesome. So it's innovative, you know, and I just think it's a great thing. I think we should really, look at seriously giving it a try.
You nailed it right there in that there is nothing good happening in Port Huron that one single person can take credit for. Every good thing happening has been a result of a team effort,
Right.
of a collaborative approach, and we're really seeing the fruits of those relationships and coming together, working together. Just a decade ago, we were all silos amongst ourselves, and testament to Bruce Brown's leadership in bringing people together and bringing people to the table and really building those relationships. And we've been able to pick up where Bruce left off. But you're right. Every action item you have there, it's not just the city of Port Huron. It's stakeholders from across the city, both organizations, private businesses, citizens and their donations, and it's a collaborative approach, and you are 100% right on that.
Yeah, and it's just kind of hard to say no because they're so proficient and they're professional in their own rights and what they can give and what they can bring to the table, and you have a plan. So, are you going to get a better plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Mayor Rep, I would like to address these issues individually as they were presented to us. I love the idea of that one central person for the downtown area, but I would like to see a concrete plan before voting to earmark $20,000 for that. So I would like for that plan to come back and then present that to us. The Community Foundation, I just really wish this was on a separate resolution because remarkable work that can be done there with that resource. When we talk about the Blue Water Festival and we talk about this economic development and how they bring so much to the community, for me, the most important thing I always consider is being inclusive. How do we write out and decide what festivals are worthy of giving $10,000 to and what festivals are not? We have an Art on the River festival that goes on in our community that we give nothing to. We have Port Huron Beer Festival we give nothing to. Pine Grove, all these things going on in the community. The NAACP puts on a huge event that's a field day event for the community, and we give nothing to. So for me, I don't feel comfortable, picking and choosing and saying what organization is worthy of funding from us. So I'm going to definitely be voting no on this.
I just mentioned the DDA Downtown Development Director position. That is an earmark. We will not spend those funds until a further plan is presented to this council.
Placeholder, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I understood the placeholder. Thank you.
No, I'm not talking
I'm
to
just
you.
saying,
I'm talking to the mayor.
don't keep referring after me
Okay.
when I'm done. Thank you so much.
Any other
The mayor.
comments?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
No, pardon me?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Personally, I'm very excited about all of the development and the things we've seen over the last probably 12 months significantly, and then what we know is coming in the next 12 to 24 months. The magnitude of partnerships and the possibilities that we have with a strategic plan and a holistic approach to marketing our area is huge, and I think the timing is perfect. So it's something that if we were looking at general funds, this would be a little bit more difficult, but thanks to Carl Tamian, we had a little whirlwind of money that we weren't expecting that is earmarked for things just like this. And so I think the timing is very, very good. I do want to say, though, it was brought up that we have 3 to 4 years left. So I would like to know that, especially with that downtown development DDA position, if we're going to do something like that, that we are looking at the sustainability of this moving forward so that we aren't 4 years from now or 3 years from now saying to this person, you no longer have a job because we can no longer put forth that $20,000. So I want to make sure that these items are all sustainable moving forward, or that they are truly a one-time deal, and when it's over, they'll go on or they'll go away. But I'm excited about the opportunity of what this could do, and really one more step in putting us on the map and having people outside our own community come in and really see what we've done. You've talked about Bruce Brown and bringing the people here that did freighters and the hotel, and I think that spurred some other developments as well, and now we have Sperry's and we have City Flats, and as all of these things keep going, I do believe it attracts other development, so I think it's the right time to do it.
Good.
Anyone else?
Mayor Rep,
Yes.
I support the moves being made, and I think any collaboration we have with and trying to find one voice from downtown is a good goal, and I would hope that falls now upon those people who are involved and don't get caught up in any kind of petty ideas or concepts along the way that they'll find it. I think they will. I think they all have that as a goal, ultimate goal. I think I see that the word collaboration and partnerships just keeps getting stronger and stronger in this community. And when the community foundation's involved in anything, I maintained, and I say this to all my friends, that is the one organization I think is at the center of all the success we have in St. Clair County. And I see us being strong. And as far as spending the money that's been allocated, the money's there. We didn't go out and seek it necessarily. It's a matter of just, in one person's opinion, it may be wasted, but the money's there and it's for a purpose. It would just simply go away if we don't use it, so let's use it for something beneficial. And I think these causes are beneficial to us as we move forward. And I think we are at the cusp of some even more good things going on in St. Clair County and in Port Huron specifically. So I'll be supporting it strongly.
Amen.
I think everybody's had a chance to comment on this, and I have to agree. Certainly, this is money that couldn't be used for anything else. It is meant for promotion of our area for economic development, and there's nothing better than these items to get people here and to tell the story. And as far as a collaborative effort for DDA Main Street and Downtown Director and through the Chamber, that's something that's been talked about for 25 years and has never come to fruition. So I can only hope that that's going to happen, because I think that's going to be wonderful. Everybody in the last couple of years in this whole area has been working very well together in a collaborative effort for the county and the community foundation and everybody. And we can see the fruits of all of that. You know, it's phenomenal what's coming to our area. So all of these things certainly help promote that of getting our story out and getting people here to see what a good thing we have. So I'm in support of it. We can take the vote now.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Amos?
No.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
No.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
No.
Mayor Rep?
Yes, the resolution does pass. We'll move on to item 6.
Approving the postponement of the second meetings in July and August.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Ashford. Is there discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Amos?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Lewandowski?
No.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes, that concludes our agenda. We do have a couple of announcements. Volunteers are needed to assist with planting flowers during the Beautification Commission's annual Plant Day, which is this Saturday, May 28th. They can contact, I believe, the city clerk's office to get any information about that. City offices will be closed on Monday, May 30th in observance of Memorial Day. And we do have a Memorial Day parade and a celebration in Pine Grove Park. I encourage everyone to go. The Spirit of Port Huron Awards ceremony will be held June 13th at 4:30 p.m. in the McMorran Place Lounge. This is the same day as our next council meeting, and it's just prior to that. Is there anything else to come before the council this evening?
Mayor Rep?
Yes,
I had a city manager free to give us an update on the contamination of the Black River. I know the DEQ was on that, and it just kind of was like nonchalant, like, okay, they're working on it, but after a contamination that's been going on for 2 years, I guess, and we're not hearing anything about it, I would like to get updates on that, because the public safety of our citizens is in my jurisdiction, as it was told to me that the Black River was not. And many residents have contacted me with those concerns, and I just want to address those, especially when we live in an area where we're building a cancer facility, because cancer rates are high, and these contaminations can really associate itself to that. So if you could give us that update.
Yeah, I'll briefly give you an update. Last year, we had a report of a very small sheen near seawall by the canal entrance across from the Marathon gas station, which I believe is Holland and Pine Grove. We notified the DEQ, and the DEQ sent a team out, and the plume that was able to be very manageably taken care of. It's caused from contaminated soil, which they are not sure if it's a old leaching tank. They did a pressure test of the tanks that were there. They came back that the current tanks are not leaking, so it's historical contamination on that site, that they're addressing a plan. All environmental issues like that is flowed to the DEQ's jurisdiction. They mean all surface water in Michigan is regulated by the DNR and DEQ, so it does fall under their jurisdiction. We have notified them. They have put a plan in place. They have briefed us that it's not. This is actually a very normal issue. In a community like ours, we have old tanks and underground contamination all over. This has just popped its head up because a small sheen had come out, but they have addressed that, and there's no immediate concerns to the community. The DEQ, if there was concerns to the community, would have to create action alerts and notifications to the community, and so there's state statutes that regulate that. And so they have, I believe Times Herald did a piece on it. They have a work plan in place and a progress plan, but not an unusual issue. We monitor contaminated sites in Brownsfields all over the community. Actually, we have an archive and a log of where those sites are, and we work on cleaning them up and remediating them or containing the contamination. So this is very typical.
Thank you for that, James. I just wanted to put that on the record because the article was very vague and it would leave a lot of open questions out there.
Well, the issue is it's in like a lot of sites in the city and around the state of Michigan. If there's a historical contamination, oftentimes they don't know about it until it surfaces or till a construction site comes and they encounter it. And so this is something we've encountered before, and I trust the DEQ is taking care of with their action plan, and they have the statute oversight to oversee that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember
Jim,
Linda.
you said the city was aware of this about a year ago?
Yeah.
How come we weren't notified on it?
Because we notified the DEQ, and they were taking care of it. There was no immediate threat to the public. There was no risk, and the DEQ is taking care of it. It's their jurisdiction.
As somebody that, you work for as a council, I think you would want to notify us if there's a sheen going across the Black River.
There wasn't a sheen going across the Black River near a retaining wall, and when the DEQ went out there the first time, they couldn't see it. It was only until we provided a picture of it. So there's appropriate channels for this type of information. We encounter contamination across the city through construction projects and tear downs all the time that we work with the DEQ on. And so we've followed the protocol of notifying the DEQ.
And I agree with notifying the DEQ. I just think you should notify your council too when you have water or gas or whatever might be contaminating the Black River leaking into it. And you know about it and you contact the DEQ, but you don't tell your council members about it. I think that's something you should be telling them.
Well, in the future, I'll let you know. But I will say that I don't want to I think it's dangerous to tell people that there was oil and contamination in their water. The DEQ still isn't sure exactly what it was, and so I would leave the DEQ to comment on the scope of what's going on. I just don't want to panic our residents.
The nature of the sheen. But I'm just saying anyway, if you don't know what it is, you should still tell your council, hey, there's something leaking into the Black River from this business over here.
Is there anything else to come? Yes, Councilmember Ruiz.
I appreciate the fact that I wasn't notified since it wasn't something that went across Black River. It was, it sounded like it was self-contained, and the DEQ is not shouting from the rooftops that there was something going on, and they had been notified as it's under their jurisdiction. I've seen in the past where we've had information out there amongst council, and then it gets out, and it's second-hand, third-hand, and all of a sudden becomes an issue that isn't an issue. That would be a fear I would have. So I'll trust your judgment in how you communicate those things.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ashford.
I would just like to, I think we both were, Mayor Rep and Councilmember Harris and Rico, we were at the police memorial, the service on this week? Last
Tuesday.
Last Tuesday, and it was very powerful, very moving. And a lot of our officers got a chance to hear the fine works that they are doing. I mean, it was just awesome. Chief, you did a wonderful job with pulling that together. And especially, I just liked the fact that the community was involved, in the awards, and it was just a great thing. And then lastly, I would just like to tell Nancy, that's all they talked about at Lakeside Park was Nancy Wismer. It would have I almost cried, Nancy. Was it the DEQ lady? DNR lady.
DNR
She
lady.
just said, yeah, she said she loves you. She said the job that you did and how you just exuberated, in pulling that together, and your determination to make that work, and also your other fellow co-workers, and And everything looked good too,
Did.
Nancy. Great job, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to tell you because you weren't there, but it
Yeah.
was wonderful.
Yeah, that's good.
Mayor Rapp, I wanted to just echo that, Nancy. I wanted to say congratulations to you. I know you couldn't be there, but it was wonderful, and she is correct. Your name was on everyone's lips, and everything you do is fantastic, and it was great to see the kids running through it for the first time, and I look forward to the next phase. Chief, I apologize, I couldn't make it. I was traveling for business, but I've been there every other year, and again, congratulations to all the officers. I know it's always a great program, and we appreciate everything they do.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Meeting adjourned.